everyone, and welcome to Katora's channel. This is Laura. So if you're watching this video, I hope you've already watched part 1 of the basic dog behavior video series. So this is actually part 2, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. Okay, now that we have talked about what to identify when reading a dog and reading their behavior, let's talk about how to properly greet a dog when greeting them out in public. This is for a strange dog that you have never met before. So first, let's talk about what people do wrong. So the first thing that people do wrong is approach the dog without asking the owner first. Now this is very, very important. You don't know if that animal is a service dog, you don't know if that animal is aggressive, and you don't know if that animal is excited to see you. Even if you are reading its behavior, you must ask the owner first. After asking permission and being allowed to touch a dog, never reach for its face. This is not a good idea. Even if you have read the dog's behavior, you never want to reach for a dog's face first, because that can result in a bite or just scaring the dog in general. Okay, so now let's talk about what you should do when greeting a dog. First thing you should always do when greeting a dog is greet the owner first. Shake their hand, talk to them, anything, and then ask if you can touch their dog. If they say no, respect their decision and do not touch their dog. It is very important that you listen to the owner's advice and listen to what the owner said. Now that the owner has told you that it is okay to touch their dog, next you should ask the dog. I don't mean like sit down and go, "Hey buddy, can I pet you?" I mean read its behavior. Look at the dog. Look at their tail. Look at their ears. Look at their mouths. And go from there. If the dog is excited and willing to be pet, then continue with the process. If the dog is not willing to be pet and you can read that it is scared or uncomfortable, and maybe its owner hasn't noticed that, then do not approach the dog and respect the dog's wishes by it telling you not to pet it. It is obviously uncomfortable. Now that you've read the dog's body language and asked him for permission before you pet him, now you may pet him. First thing you want to do is get down on his level. I don't mean crouch down, put your face in his face. I mean turn slightly over and get down a little further. You want to pet a dog on its chest first and not on the top of its head. This is the polite way to greet a dog, by petting them on the chest. You never want to pet them on the head because you never know how they're going to feel about that. Everyone sees a dog and they get excited and they want to pet it, and you need to ask the owner and the dog for permission first. This ensures that the dog is 100% comfortable with you petting it and getting excited about it, and it's excited too, instead of stressing the dog out and potentially causing an accident. Okay, now I'm going to show you a video on what properly to do when greeting a dog. In this video, you'll notice that the person shakes the trainer's hand and approaches them first, asks the dog for permission, and then correctly approaches the dog. Here you go. So part 3 of basic dog behavior is how your dog should act when being approached by a stranger. Now remember, you always want to read your dog and make sure your dog is comfortable with the stranger touching them. If you look at your dog looks uncomfortable based on what you've learned from the basic dog behavior in part 1, then do not proceed with letting somebody touch your dog. Simply explain that your dog is uncomfortable and that they do not want to be touched at that moment. Now, if you look at your dog and your dog is excited and wants to meet this new stranger, then this is how your dog should act. First off, always have your dog on a leash. Your dog should be on a leash at all times in public areas unless it is an off-leash dog park, or you have a service dog that cannot perform its duties while on a leash. Other than that, your dog should always be leashed in public. Now that the stranger has approached, asked you politely if they can touch your dog, and you have said yes, your dog should do a couple of things before being pet. It should always sit on command, so you want your dog to sit properly and stay sitting for the entire duration of meeting the stranger. Don't ever want your dog jumping on strangers or lunging at strangers, even in excitement. You want your dog to be sitting by your side, nice and relaxed. So here's a video on how your dog should act when being approached by a stranger. Alright, now that we know how your dog should act when being approached by a stranger, here are some videos on how your dog should not act when being approached by a stranger. Alright guys, so I hope you really enjoyed this video. I want you all to remember that it is very important to respect animals, and especially to respect animals in a way that they want to be respected. Read your animal's body language, read other animals' body language, and go from there. Don't ever assume that a dog is nice just because it's wagging his tail, and don't ever assume that you can touch a dog just because it's out in public. Always ask for permission from the owner first. Thank you so much for watching Katura's channel. Please comment down below if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.